Okay, so last time we had class, you created the digital color wheel. I printed it, I cut it out, and what you're going to do is you're going to tape it onto your paper up at the top. Now, I know you might not be able to see really well. Just be patient. These bottles will be moved in just a moment, okay? But all I'm doing is I'm using 4 pieces of clear tape, and I'm putting one on each corner so that that is taped down, okay? Then I'm going to, below it, I'm going to draw another color wheel, just the outlines, okay? So I'm going to start with a triangle with solid lines, just like we did on the iPad. Please have your arms, elbows, and body parts off the table. When you do that, it makes it difficult for other people to see. So I'm drawing my triangle, then my upside down dotted triangle, and then the circles, and then the circles that are in between. So just like we did digitally, but now you're going to do it with your pencil, okay? Next, you'll have a palette. It looks like this. It's a plastic palette. We have 3 colors of paint that are our primary colors, right? The first colors. So in your palette, you are going to put some red. And you don't want to fill it up all the way. You just want to kind of fill it up near close to the top, but not all the way. And then the blue, and then the yellow. And you can see that I even sort of set my palette up to look like my color wheel. This blue right here, this is called turquoise blue. There is another bottle of blue paint. It's a darker blue. But for this project, I want you to use the turquoise blue because it's going to make our colors a little bit brighter. So if you see the regular blue over there, just don't use it. This turquoise blue will work much better for this. So then I'm going to use a brush that's not too big, and I'm going to fill in my primary colors. So I have my red. Once I fill in my red, I need to wash my paintbrush off so that I get all that paint out, and then I need to use a paper towel to dry the brush so there's no water in it, okay? Then I'm going to paint my blue, and remember all the primary colors go on the solid triangle, and you're just looking at your digital one to see where they go as well. Then I'm going to do my yellow, and now I've got my primary colors completed, and the next thing I'll do is my secondary colors. So when I do my secondary colors, or when I mix colors, what I'm doing now is I'm taking some of the paint and just moving it into another little part of the palette. Henry, can you see? See what I'm doing? All right, so I'm doing that because then I'll have some places where I can mix other colors. Whenever you're mixing colors with paint, the best way to do it is to put the darker color into the lighter color. So if I'm going to make my green, which is darker, yellow or blue? Blue. So I put the darker color into the lighter color. So I take some of the blue and then I mix it into the yellow, because the yellow is lighter, until I get green. Now you have to be careful here that you're not making yellow green. You want to make actual green. And so if it looks more like yellow green, you should add more blue. And mine, I think, could have a little bit more blue. Now notice that I'm cleaning my brush before I go get more blue so that I don't get my colors all mixed up. So I'm just going to add a little bit more blue for this. As you make your secondary and later your tertiary colors, you may find that they don't look exactly like those colors, which is okay. We're just trying to get as close as we can. So there's my green. And then I'm going to clean my brush. Notice that I clean my brush and I dry it every time I change a color. I don't want a bunch of water in my paint. It'll make it really runny. Okay? So now I'm going to move some of this red into a few of these other spots on my palette. I'm going to clean my brush, and now I'm going to make orange. So orange is yellow and red, but which is darker, yellow or red? Red. So you put the darker color into the lighter color. So I pick some up, I come over here and I mix it into my yellow to get my orange. Again, being careful that I'm not creating red orange or yellow orange. I'm trying to just get like as orange as I possibly can. That looks pretty good. Probably could have a little bit more yellow. I'm going to move some of it over here, clean my brush off. Normally I add the darker color into the light, but right now I'm going to just take some yellow and put it in here so I can get the orange that I'm looking for. That looks pretty good. So here's my orange. Now something you're going to notice as you paint, do you guys see how as the paint dries it becomes lighter? You can really see it here on the green one. And if you're not up close to see, that's okay. But just realize when you do it yourself, your paint will dry just a little bit lighter. So I'm going to clean my brush, dry it off, and now I'm going to do my purple. Purple, we can also call it violet. So I'm just going to move some blue over here. Put some blue over here too for later. Clean my brush, dry it. It's a lot of brush cleaning and a lot of drying your brush. It's really important because you don't want to get your colors mixed up. Because if you got some, blue into the orange, that's going to make the color not what we're looking for. So now for purple, the blue and the red, they're about the same. I guess the red seems a little bit darker. I'm going to take some red and mix it into the blue. A lot of times the blue will look darker than the red, but since we're using a kind of lighter shade of blue, in this case the blue looks a little bit lighter. So I'm doing this, but it doesn't really look like purple. It actually looks more like one of the tertiary colors. Can anyone tell me which tertiary color this looks like? Yep.
Red violet or blue violet?
Blue violet, that's right. It looks like blue violet. So I need more of a primary color to get it to look more just plain violet. So what do you think I need more of?
Red. Red.
Yeah, more red. So I'm just going to try to mix a little more red in here. The trick is you don't want it to turn into red violet. You want it to be purple. So sometimes you have to adjust. So that looks
Like red violet.
kind of, let's see how it looks over here. Yeah, that should have a little more blue in it as well. So if it doesn't turn out perfect exactly the first time, don't just use it, fix it. That's what I'm going to do. So I've got, this looks a little too reddish, so I just need a little more blue in there. Hopefully I won't get it back, it won't go all the way back to blue violet. It's like kind of like a balancing act. And that looks pretty good, okay? So I'm going to come back and add that. Now you notice it looks pretty dark, but as it dries, it's going to get lighter.
Yeah, like these.
And look a little bit more like just plain violet. So I do have some students that are starting to talk. And I need you guys to keep your voices off. I need you to keep your voices off, okay? We don't have much more to go. All right, now I already have blue violet made, right? So I'm just going to put my blue violet in here. So that's one of my tertiary colors. Blue and violet together make blue violet. And then I can make my red violet. So I just need to get more red back into this purple here. So now I want it to be more reddish than purple. More reddish. I need a little bit more. Oh, that's pretty good. Yeah, here we go. Red violet, okay? And then if I do this one here, this is a tertiary color, and it's going to use the primary color blue and the secondary color green. So I've got my green here. I'm going to mix it in with my blue to try to get that blue-green. I think it might need a little more blue.
Yeah, because that kind of looks still like green. Like the
So-
darker green.
So maybe just a little more blue. Again, notice that I wash my brush and dry it. And then I can add my blue-green. Okay? And then I need my yellow-green. I'm starting to run out of space on my palette. I'm going to just take some of this yellow and put it in the center. I can use that part as well. Clean my brush. I'm rubbing it against the bottom of the can to knock some of that paint out. Oh, whoops. Didn't mean to do that. Pop that guy back on. All right. Then, okay, so yellow-green. So the green is a little darker, so I put the darker color into the light to get my yellow-green. I love this color. Reminds me of spring. So there's my yellow-green. I'm gonna clean my brush off again. And, yeah, and then I'm gonna need some red-orange and yellow-orange. So for my red-orange, I have orange here. I'm going to just take red and add more red to it. Red-orange is kind of tricky because it looks real similar to yellow-orange. It looks real similar to yellow, red-orange looks pretty similar to red, but it should have a more orangish look to it. And this one should look a little more like red or a little more almost sort of like a pinkish color. So then finally yellow-orange, and I'm going to take, I've got orange here, and I've got yellow. Since I don't need any more yellow, I'm going to take the orange and mix it in here with my yellow to get my yellow-orange. And, oh, I got a little green in there. I didn't want that. It's not too bad. There we go. And so then I have my yellow-orange. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to leave my paintbrush. You'll just put it in the water can and leave it in there. You guys won't be cleaning the brushes. You'll just leave them in your water cans because we won't have enough time for you to clean your brushes individually. So that is how you create the color wheel, but with paint instead of on your iPad.